Hi, Tony DeWitt here, Missouri appellate attorney and a guy who usually makes sense of the law on YouTube. But today, I'm trying to make sense of success. So today we're going to talk about goals and objectives. More on that in just a moment. So in our last video, we talked about developing a vision. And a vision is important because it helps you define where you're going to go. But a vision without a plan is meaningless. It has no effect. It is no more than a dream. There's an old saying that says, if wishes were horses, beggars would ride. And that's true, right? Anybody, if wishes got you where you need to be, everybody'd own a Tesla. But that's not how it works. And of course, we wouldn't have any power on the grid either if everybody owned a Tesla. A vision is meaningless without a plan to implement that vision, and that's where goals and objectives come in. I'm going to assume you understand that it's necessary to set goals and objectives in order to get forward, in order to move forward in life. So today I'm going to talk about the process of goal setting, because it's not just I'm going to set a goal and go on. It's how do I make that goal work for me? So we're going to talk about SMART goals. SMART goals are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-focused. It presents an acronym, SMART. SMART goals are designed to make it easier for you to measure and achieve your success because you have a benchmark you can look at regularly to determine whether you are meeting those goals or not. So, let's suppose I want to write a book. I need a specific goal. What kind of book? How long is it going to be? How many chapters? What am I going to write about? What market am I going to make it applicable to? All of these things are necessary in order to make the goal specific. The goal needs to be specific because if it's not, it will fall by the wayside. Now that doesn't mean you can't modify that goal later on, right? If you were going to write a novel about a precognitive mouse, you could certainly change it to a precognitive squirrel if you wanted to use examples that are utterly ridiculous. But given the literature I've seen out in the public domain recently, maybe it's not so crazy. Measurable. Now, measurable goals, in the case of writing a book, that's easy. You can look at your computer and determine whether or not you have met the goal. You can look at whether or not you have completed the book. You will be able to hold pages in your hand. That is a measurable goal. Some goals are easier to measure than others. For example, if you want to lose weight, you have to set a specific goal. I want to lose 50 pounds. That's what I want to lose. Setting specific goals and making them measurable, something you can check against. You're going to know if you've lost 45 pounds that you didn't meet the 50-pound goal. So you're going to have to keep pushing forward toward it. All of this is the process of making the goal measurable. You have to have some way in which to determine whether you have reached your goal or not. Attainable. An attainable goal is something that it's reasonably possible for you to do. For example, I could very easily write a novel about a respiratory therapist or a novel about a lawyer. And with enough research, I could even write a novel about a bank robber, which is what I did. But the bottom line is that you have to make the goal attainable. I could never write a book on neuroanatomy or neurophysiology because I don't have that background. I am not a big science person. I don't have the ability to gather that knowledge in depth in such a reasonable time as to write a book on that subject. So your goal has to be realistic and attainable in order for you to achieve that goal. You know, you might have the goal of one day playing football for the Chicago Bears. But if you're 45 years old and you've got bad knees, that's probably not an attainable goal. Relevant. The goal needs to be relevant, and by relevant here, what I mean is it has to be relevant to your end vision for where you want to be when you know, as Yogi Berra said, if you don't know where you're going, when you get there, you'll be lost. It has to be relevant to that ultimate destination that you are headed toward, to how it has to figure into how you will be able to define your success eventually. Relevant. It has to be relevant to that. You know, integrity means the integration of your values and your actions. And indeed, when you make a goal relevant, it has to be integrated into your values and ultimately into your vision. You have to have the integrity to have a relevant goal. Now, you know, if I was something other than a lawyer or a former respiratory therapist, maybe this goal wouldn't be relevant for me. If I was somebody who, hauled rocks on a truck all day long, it probably would not be relevant to me to write a book of that nature. But because I do have that background, it is relevant. And I would like to think that when those books are out there and become popular, that it will help me achieve a little measure of perhaps, this is terribly arrogant, but a little bit of immortality. You know, my work will go on long after I'm gone. So that's why it's relevant to my definition of success, because my definition of success is to love who I am and like what I do, and I do like writing. So this is integrated into my values and my vision. And then finally, time focused. You have to have an end date by which you can measure whether you have achieved your goal. So if you set a time deadline, the likelihood that you will achieve that deadline and achieve that goal is much greater. But make the deadline realistic. If you want to write a book that is 300 pages long, you're not going to do that in a weekend. You're not going to do that in a week. You are probably not going to do it in a month. It's going to take you some time. I know, because I've done that. I've written a book that's 253 pages, and it took a long time. So when I was setting my goal for writing my book, what was my goal? My goal was I wanted to write a book about a respiratory therapist who helps the FBI solve a string of bank robberies, and I wanted it to be an action, a thriller, that kind of thing. And the goal said, I want to write a book about a respiratory therapist who helps the FBI solve a series of bank robberies in Florida. I thought that was reasonably specific, right? It's specific. Is it measurable? Yes, it's binary. I either do or I don't. It's like Yoda says, do or do not. There is no try. Is it attainable? Yes, I can certainly write that book. Is it relevant? I believe so, yes. Is it time focused? There's no date on this goal. So how do we fix that? Here's how we fix that. We put a date on it. By June 1st of 2020, I will have written my book. And then you set objectives that go backwards in time from that date so that you will know how you are getting to that goal. One of your objectives early on might be to write 1 chapter a night, every night, or 5 chapters a week so that you can take time on the weekend and not write. Whatever the objectives are that you set, put them into your goal and into your plan. The goal goes at the top, and underneath it go all of the different objectives. That's how that works. The more effort you put into making these goals specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-focused, the better your outcomes will be. Every time I have determined that I was going to write a book, I set a goal and I always beat that goal. Part of that comes from being an appellate lawyer where you never want to miss a deadline. And I try very hard never to miss deadlines. So the whole goal of writing a book becomes a path and a series of objectives that I check off every time I'm moving toward that goal. I know I'm going to get there because with every step that I take, I can record it off and know that that is done. None of this is rocket science. It's simply a matter of writing down what you're going to do and then doing it. But let me tell you, it is powerful. It has the capacity to change your life if you do it. I know because it changed mine. So that's how we set goals. That's how we set objectives. The objectives are just like I said, the little solar lights that guide you down the path to your goal. They're easy to do, and I would hope that anybody who wants to follow this path will do it, and I wish you the absolute best and success. So, I would really appreciate it if you'd smash that like button for me. That means a lot to me, and it tells the other people on YouTube that this is valuable content. In addition to that, if you smash that like button, it doesn't cost you anything, and you feel good all over when you do it. I know because I smash the like button all the time. And I like a lot of different videos. It just helps the creators out here who are out here putting out videos every day, trying to make the world a little bit better place. Also, if you haven't already, go over there to that little thing that says subscribe, touch that thing that says subscribe, and 3 little bells are going to pop up, and up at the top bell, it says all. If you tap that bell, it will give you all of the notifications so that whenever I release a video, it will show up in your feed on YouTube. I would greatly appreciate it if you'd subscribe and click all. So that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you found it worthwhile. Thank you so much for watching. Have a terrific day, guys.